Hey, it's Grok Talk. Steve McDonald, Skip Murphy, Mike Rogers, and Andrew Hemingway coming to you live from Concord. I got a little bird, Andrew, who told me a story about something that may have happened at the... I had your mic off for a reason, because you were going to interrupt me, about a story that happened at involving the New Hampshire Young Republicans, and you were there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. So, why don't you fill us in?
Well, I'm not sure exactly which incident you're referring to. Is this the executive committee meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this has been a constant effort here. I think that you know, I say in good company, the New Hampshire GOP has never been a friend to conservatives, and constantly working to undermine them in any manner way that they possibly could. So I'm the longest serving member of the New Hampshire Young Republicans Board of Directors. I've been the Northeast Regional or the Northern Regional Chair for over 6 years now, and have been consistently working inside of that organization to try and advocate for Republican principles and values. Okay, so that's my credentials for you. What happened here is that for the first time ever, we saw a state party chair try and co-opt an organization that is not under her control. Now, the organization is called the New Hampshire Young Republicans, but we are chartered not by the GOP. We are chartered by the Young Republican National Federation, the YRNF. The New Hampshire GOP, in fact, has no ruling over us, has no participation inside of our organization whatsoever, and yet, constantly, there is this effort by this state party chair to try and do that. So, we had a meeting where we said, okay, we're going to have an election coming up, and as part of that election, we have a credentialing committee, right, following the bylaws. Credentialing committee agreed on the credentialing requirements, which is that you must be a dues-paying member. You had to have attended at least one event throughout the year, right, so that we don't have people just showing up randomly voting for somebody. You have to be a part of the organization. And so we set the credentialing requirements, and, well, that didn't sit well, you see, because they couldn't stack the room with their sheeple. And so because of that, they instead decided to co-opt the entire thing. And essentially they've created their own organization. Now, what's important for state committee members to understand is that the seat on the executive committee was awarded by our state bylaws and by our state committee members to a specific organization. That organization is chartered by the YRNF. That is our organization. We do not have a seat currently on the executive committee. Instead, by fiat, the state committee chair today, Jennifer Horn, has decided to name her own group and put her own people in a voting position on the executive committee. This in itself is a violation of the bylaws.
Really? And what is the name of this organization, Andrew?
Oh, they call themselves the New Hampshire Young Republicans.
Clock Boy Ahmed's going to go live in Qatar, which is an absolute monarchy where they have a advisory council that pretty much serves at the whim of the absolute monarch. This sounds very similar to that.
It is strikingly similar,
Andrew,
actually.
Andrew, this is Ed Nett.
It's absolutely disgusting what has occurred. So on Monday night, I attended an executive committee meeting, and I was appointed by Lino from Carroll County as the chairman to be able to represent him at this meeting. At this meeting, this is what I asked, and you guys tell me if this is a completely unrealistic request. I asked the chair, said, Madam Chair, there seems to be some disruption about which is the real Republican organization. We really want to win elections. We're sick and tired of this sort of bickering back and forth. What I'd like to do is at your request, I'd like to make a motion that you add a Young Republican conversation to next month's meeting, where both groups come in, both groups present their case, and the executive committee gets to decide on who is the proper group to be sitting at this table making votes. Tammy Simmons interrupts me halfway through and says, Madam Chair, this is ridiculous. I move to adjourn. Chairman Horn immediately grabs the gavel, slams it down, and says, adjourned, and literally runs out of the room. This is the environment in which we're currently operating. People go, how come we can't win elections? I just can't figure it out. It's like,
Because the Republican Party's principals have no principles.
It's very, very, obvious what's occurring here. So they're not interested in having, someone like myself or someone like Bob Burns, represent the New Hampshire Young Republicans, and they think that they get to decide who gets to do that. And so that's kind of where it stands today. I'm kind of.
So where did their NHYR come from, Andrew? And does it have any members?
Oh, they handpicked a few young people who are going to be there. Again, sheeple, to use that in the nicest way possible. Who will follow their edicts. What's interesting is when this happened, they took over the Facebook page and the Twitter page and some other things. Well, we've applied. We went back to Twitter and said, actually, that group is taking our stuff. Twitter gave us back our account. Facebook gave us back our account. We had to show them proof of this. They absolutely said, yes, no problem. Bank accounts, PayPal. Yep, we understand. We see the paperwork that you're providing for us, and you're right. You are the legitimate organization. They give us all back to it. The New Hampshire GOP? No, this is, you guys are manipulating this situation to your benefit. It's absolutely mind-boggling. So
Ed had a question for you.
Andrew, this is Ed Nail. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, you might want to go up to the Secretary of State's office. If you guys are a registered nonprofit, you would have that name, and I don't believe they would allow another organization to have almost the exact same name.
Oh,
have you tried that yet?
Here's an interesting little turn of events here. We are in conversations with Secretary of State Bill Gardner, so that is occurring. When the name came up, Bill Gardner reached out to Jennifer, to Chairman Horn. My apologies. I want to maintain the.
You can call her J-Ho if you want.
Reached out to her and said, does this group have the ability to use the name New Hampshire, to use the title Republican in their name? Which first of all, Jennifer Horn doesn't hold the copyright to this. This is the RNC, not the New Hampshire GOP, right? So
Correct.
First of all, this is messed up. Second of all, we are chartered through the RNC, through YRNF, to the New Hampshire Young Republicans, so it's a completely different chain. So she writes a letter to the Secretary of State demanding that he remove our recognition of our organization as a legitimate group, by the state of New Hampshire. And so we are currently working through the Secretary of State, and we'll win there too, because facts are well, Ed, you know all about this.
Yeah, and the NHGOP isn't very good at winning things. So.
You know what? The only phrase that comes to mind, Andrew, is that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it sounds like Jennifer Horn is all caught up all in herself, thinking that she has stuff for which she has no right. My question is, where's the rest of the E-Board on this? Or is this a conspiracy among all the E-Board folks? Is anybody else standing up to saying, no, this is not the right thing to do? Or are they basically just trying to, we're going to take this as our own private fiefdom?
It is. There are members of the board who recognize what's going on. But I'll say this. So when she ran out, I stood up in the meeting. The meeting had been adjourned. I stood up and I started yelling. I said, is this how you treat young Republicans? Is this how you treat young voters seeking to be an active part of the Republican organization? Okay, and the executive committee is sitting in front of me. Many of them just sort of lowered their heads. So I said, well, does anyone here doubt my sincerity in moving the Republican cause forward? Can anyone say that I've been a hindrance to moving the cause forward? Are more young people involved in Republican politics in New Hampshire today because of my efforts? Right? Everybody agrees. Of course, people, no one can doubt your sincerity. So why aren't you guys helping me? And there's these blank looks around the table. And you know what it is? It goes back to Steve's point about Qatar. It's this rule by absolute loyalty. And it's the demand that you forget facts, that you forget your own principles. You must completely submit to my authority, or else you will pay the ultimate price. And there are very few people, frankly, in our society, but especially, it seems, on the New Hampshire Executive Committee, who are willing to look at facts and make a ruling absent of a whisper in their ear on what the party thinks that they should be doing.
We're going to send him some Republican repair kits. Maybe that'll be useful. We're out of time, Andrew. I want to thank you for taking some time out of your morning to spend with us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much.
All right.
Good luck,
Thank you, sir.
Andrew.
Good luck.